I never thought my life would change because I missed a bus. It was a Tuesday in early October, and the air had that sharp edge of fall. I was 17 minutes late, holding a cold cup of gas station coffee and cursing myself for sleeping through my alarm. I remember standing at the bus stop, arms crossed, hoodie zipped all the way up, wishing I could disappear into the concrete. Then he showed up. He didn't look like someone who'd take the bus. Tall, messy blonde hair, kind of a crooked smile like he was always in on a joke you didn't get. He wore a denim jacket and these old, beat-up boots. He said, "This bus always late? Or just today?" I shrugged, trying not to look directly at him. "Just today, I guess. Or maybe we're early." He smiled wider. "Glass half full, huh?" I didn't say anything, just sipped my coffee and kept staring down the road. But then he said, "I'm Colton, by the way." I looked up. His eyes were the clearest green I'd ever seen. I didn't mean to smile, but I did. "Lena!" That was it. That's how it started. The next few weeks felt like a movie. He was 2 years older than me, 18, already out of school, said he was figuring things out. He worked part-time at an auto shop and played guitar in some garage band with a name I don't even remember now. He wasn't like the boys at my school. He talked to me like I mattered, like what I said actually meant something. We started meeting more often, sometimes at the same bus stop, sometimes just walking around town. One night he invited me to a bonfire behind someone's barn. It smelled like wood smoke and beer, and I remember how he took my hand when it got cold. I wasn't popular. I wasn't anything, really. Just kind of floating through school, invisible. But with Colton, I felt seen. He started saying things like, "I've got you," or, "Don't worry, I know what I'm doing." He made me feel safe. One night when we were in his car, parked by the lake, he whispered, "You trust me, right?" And I did. God, I really did. I found out I was pregnant 3 weeks after my 17th birthday. I knew something was off almost immediately. My body just felt different. I tried to tell myself I was overthinking. But when my period didn't come, I bought a test from the pharmacy 3 towns over. I didn't want anyone to see me. I took it in my bathroom late at night, when my mom was asleep. 2 pink lines. I stared at them for 5 full minutes, thinking maybe if I blinked, they'd disappear. Then I sat on the floor and cried until my face hurt. I kept thinking, this isn't real. This can't be real. When I told Colton, I expected panic. But instead, he just sat there, quiet, and then said, "Okay, we'll figure it out. I'm here, Lena. I told you, I've got this." For a moment, I believed him. That changed the night I met his mom. Colton brought me over to his house, said it was time. I wore my nicest jeans and tried to smile, even though my stomach was in knots. His mom, Dana, was all sharp eyes and tight smiles. Her house smelled like lemon cleaner and judgment. She barely said hello before pulling Colton into the kitchen. I wasn't supposed to hear, but the walls were thin. "She did this on purpose," Dana hissed. "Don't be stupid, Colton. Girls like her trap boys like you." "I love her," he said. "You don't know what love is," she snapped. He didn't come back into the room for 10 minutes. When he did, he avoided my eyes. After that night, everything shifted. Colton started texting less. He always had an excuse. Work, his mom, something with the band. I'd sit in my room, my hands resting on my belly, trying not to panic. At school, rumors spread fast. I didn't tell anyone, but someone must have seen me at the clinic. Whispers followed me down the hallway. Girls who used to sit next to me now looked away. Some boys made comments, crude and loud enough to hear. I started eating lunch in the library, headphones in, head down. My mom found out a week later. I thought she'd scream. But instead, she just stood in the kitchen, staring at me like she couldn't recognize her own daughter. Then she said, "We'll deal with it. But don't expect it to be easy." That night, she knocked on my door with a glass of water and sat beside me. She didn't say much, just, "I was 16 too." Then she squeezed my hand and left. It was the first time I didn't feel completely alone, but Colton was slipping away. One night I called him sobbing because I'd thrown up 3 times in an hour and couldn't get out of bed. He didn't pick up. He texted me the next morning. "Sorry, busy night. Hope you're feeling better." Busy with what? His mom? Another girl? I didn't know. And it hurt worse not knowing. That same week, a girl in my biology class passed me a note during lab. All it said was, "You're not alone. You're stronger than you think." Her name was Abby. She was quiet, like me. After class, she waited for me at the lockers and said, "If you ever need someone to talk to, I've been there." She didn't ask questions. She just listened. And then came Micah. I knew him from middle school, but we hadn't talked in years. One afternoon, he saw me crying outside the nurse's office and sat beside me like it was the most normal thing in the world. He said, "You want to talk about it, or you want a distraction?" I sniffled. "Distraction." So he pulled a crumpled pack of Sour Patch Kids from his jacket and said, "We're gonna rank them by flavor. It's very serious business." And somehow, that made me laugh. By the time I was 12 weeks pregnant, Colton had almost completely disappeared. He still sent me the occasional text. Things like, "How are you?" or "Been crazy here. We'll talk soon." But we never actually did talk. I'd reply, and hours would pass before I heard anything. Sometimes I didn't hear back at all. When I finally worked up the courage to call him again, his phone went straight to voicemail. No explanation. Just beep. That sound felt like the door slamming shut. I wanted to scream, not just at him, but at everything. My body was changing faster than my mind could keep up. I cried when I saw myself in the mirror. My clothes didn't fit. My back ached. I was tired all the time. And through it all, the one person who said, "I've got you," was nowhere to be found. One night, I left Colton a voice message. I didn't plan to, but the words just spilled out. "Hey, I'm not trying to trap you or ruin your life, okay? I didn't make this happen alone. You told me you were in control. You said I could trust you, and now you're gone. I don't know what to do, Colton. I'm scared. Please just talk to me." He never responded. At home, things were tense. My mom was doing her best, but I could tell she was stretched thin. She picked up more shifts at the diner and left pamphlets around the house. Some about teen pregnancy, some about adoption, and one about abortion. She never said anything directly, just left them where I could find them. I threw most of them in the trash, not because I'd made up my mind, but because I wasn't ready to make any decision yet. I didn't even know how to feel. There was one night she came home and found me lying on the couch in the dark, TV off, crying quietly. She stood there a long time, not saying anything. Then finally, "I can't do this for you, Lena, but I'll do it with you, if you let me." That mattered, more than I admitted to her. At school, things were still rough. The stares hadn't stopped. The whispers didn't fade. A group of girls laughed when I walked into the cafeteria, and one of them muttered, "There goes baby mama." I almost turned around and left. But then I saw Abby at a table by herself. She looked up, caught my eye, and waved like it was the most normal thing in the world. I sat with her every day after that. She told me she'd had a pregnancy scare the year before. Her boyfriend ghosted her too. But she'd gotten lucky. False alarm. Still, she knew the fear, the shame, the feeling of being used up and invisible. She said something I'll never forget. "You didn't ruin your life. You just hit fast forward on growing up. Doesn't mean you can't still live. Micah started walking me home sometimes. He never asked questions, never pried. He just walked beside me like we'd been friends for years. Sometimes he told me dumb stories from his job at the movie theater, like the time someone tried to sneak in a full rotisserie chicken. Other times, he'd ask if I'd heard some song, and we'd share earbuds while walking down the sidewalk. I didn't realize how badly I needed that kind of silence. The kind where you didn't have to explain yourself to be understood. One day I asked him, "Why are you being nice to me?" He shrugged. "Why not?" I laughed. Most people avoid me like I'm contagious. Micah smiled softly. People suck. But not everyone. I went to my first prenatal appointment alone. Colton said he couldn't make it. "My mom's got the car today. Sorry." He didn't offer to reschedule. Just left it at that. So I took the bus, holding my coat tight around my belly, even though I wasn't really showing yet. It was a small clinic, with beige walls and a flickering fluorescent light in the waiting room. The receptionist smiled without looking me in the eye. When the nurse brought me back, she asked if I had anyone with me. I shook my head. She looked at me for a long second, then said gently, "You're brave." I didn't feel brave. I felt like I was pretending to be someone who could be brave. They did a sonogram, cold gel, fuzzy screen, and then a heartbeat. It was fast, too fast to be human, like a bird flapping its wings underwater. I stared at the screen and thought, there's really something in there. A real thing. A life. For the first time I cried and didn't try to stop myself. When I told Colton about the appointment, I sent him a picture of the sonogram. He replied, "Crazy. So small, Lowell." That was it. No, "How are you feeling?" No, "When's the next one?" Just LOL. That was the moment something broke inside me. Not all at once. Not like a slammed door. More like a light being turned off slowly. Dimmer and dimmer until I was sitting in the dark and realized I didn't miss the light anymore. That night, I deleted all our old messages, every photo. I didn't block him. I didn't scream. I just let go. A week later, Micah found me sitting on the swings at the park near my apartment. "You okay?" he asked. I looked at him, really looked at him. He had this quiet kind of kindness, not the performative kind. Not like Colton's big gestures and smooth words. Just steady, calm. "I think I am," I said. "Or at least I'm getting there." He smiled. "You want to go get ice cream?" "In February?" "Exactly. No lines." I laughed, for real this time. "You're weird." "Yeah," he said. "But I'm good weird." On the walk to the ice cream place, I told him everything. About Colton, his mom, the voicemail he never answered, the sonogram, the silence. Micah listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, "You didn't do anything wrong. You trusted someone. That's not a crime." I looked down. "It feels like I was stupid." "Stupid is making the same mistake twice," he said. "You? You're just learning fast." That night, lying in bed, I whispered to myself, I am still me. I'm not broken. I'm not shame. I'm not alone. And for the first time since those 2 pink lines, I believed it. People say pregnancy is beautiful. Maybe it is for some people. But for me, it was mostly strange. I felt like I was becoming someone else, and I wasn't sure if I liked her yet. I started showing around 5 months. Not much, just enough that baggy sweaters stopped hiding it. The stares at school didn't stop, but I stopped caring. Not all the way, but enough to hold my head a little higher. Micah started walking me to school in the mornings. He'd hand me a granola bar and say something dumb like, Gotta feed that baby genius. It always made me laugh. He had a way of making things feel normal, even when nothing was normal anymore. Abby stayed close, too. Sometimes she'd help me study or sneak me snacks when the cafeteria food made me gag. Once, when I felt especially gross and tired, she looked me dead in the eye and said, "You are growing a whole person. That's metal as hell." That made me feel powerful. Like maybe this wasn't just survival anymore. Maybe it was strength. At home, things with my mom got better. We weren't best friends or anything, but something had shifted. She stopped leaving pamphlets. Instead, she started asking me questions like, "Have you picked a name? And do you want me in the delivery room?" She still worked long hours, still looked tired most days. But some nights we sat at the kitchen table and folded little baby clothes together. She didn't say much, just handed me onesies and socks and asked if I wanted tea. That was her way of saying she cared. One night I asked her, "Were you scared when you had me?" She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I was terrified, and angry, and lonely. But then I saw you, and all of it turned into something else. I don't know what to call it. Not love, exactly. Something wilder. Like a storm that made room for light." I didn't know what to say to that. So I just nodded and whispered, "I hope I can be good at this." She looked at me then, really looked at me. "You already are." Colton showed up again in April. It was a Saturday. I was sitting outside the clinic after another appointment, rubbing my lower back and waiting for the bus. A car pulled up, window rolled down, and there he was. "Lena." I froze. I hadn't seen him in over 2 months. He looked different, tired maybe, or just unfamiliar, like a memory wearing someone else's face. "I heard from someone you were here," he said. I didn't respond right away. I just stood up slowly. My belly was obvious now, round and real. He stared at it like it was some kind of punishment. "Why are you here?" I asked. He looked uncomfortable. "I don't know, I guess I wanted to talk. Figure things out." "Now?" My voice was sharper than I expected. "You think now's the time?" He ran a hand through his hair. "Look, I messed up. I know I did. My mom, she got in my head. But I still care about you, about the baby." I laughed, a short, bitter sound. "Do you even know what size the baby is now? Do you know the due date? How many weeks along I am?" He looked away. "That's what I thought." "I want to be involved," he said quietly. "Why?" I asked Ed. "Because you suddenly grew a conscience? Or because people started asking questions?" He didn't answer. I took a deep breath. My heart was racing, but I kept my voice steady. "This isn't about you anymore, Colton. You left, and I survived. You don't get to just walk back in because it's convenient." He stepped back like I'd slapped him. "Goodbye, Colton," I said, and turned away. I didn't cry. Not this time. Micah was waiting for me at the bus stop. He didn't say anything when he saw my face, just offered me his last slice of apple from a plastic bag and sat beside me. We shared the fruit in silence, watching cars roll past like waves. "He came back," I finally said. Micah nodded slowly. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "I think I finally am." The baby started kicking later that week. I was lying in bed, reading some article about labor that made everything sound like a war zone when I felt it. Like a tiny flutter, then a stronger thump. I froze, unsure if I'd imagined it. Then it happened again. I gasped. My hand flew to my stomach. "Oh my God," I whispered. I wanted to tell someone immediately, scream it into the night, record it somehow. I ended up texting Micah. The baby kicked. It's real. He replied instantly. That's amazing. Like a little superhero getting ready for battle. I cried for 10 minutes. Not because I was scared, but because it was the first time I felt connected to the life inside me. Not like something happening to me, but with me. School was almost over. I wasn't sure if I'd walk at graduation. My teachers were kind, but cautious. Some offered extensions. Some gave me that pity look I'd grown to hate. Still, I passed everything. Barely, but I did. One day, Abby asked, "Do you ever think about what comes after?" I stared at the ceiling of the library for a long time before answering. I used to think life ended after this. Now, I think it's just different. Harder, yeah, but maybe clearer. She smiled. You're gonna be a badass mom. I hope so. You don't hope, she said. You decide. By the time June rolled around, I was 8 months pregnant. I waddled. I ate peanut butter like it was oxygen. My feet were constantly swollen. But I felt strong. Tired, but strong. Like someone who'd walked through fire and learned how to breathe smoke. Micah asked if he could be in the waiting room when I gave birth. I blinked. You want to? I want to do whatever makes this easier for you, he said. Even if that's just sitting in the hallway with a terrible vending machine coffee. I smiled. Okay, I'd like that. Sometimes I'd lie awake at night, hand on my stomach, and whisper to the baby. I'd say, "Hey, I don't know if I'm doing this right, but I promise I'll love you the best I can, even when I mess up, even when it's hard. You're not a mistake. You're not a burden. You're mine, and I'm yours." Sometimes, when I look at pictures of me from before, 16-year-old me with smooth skin and big eyes and no idea what was coming, I feel a little sad for her. She trusted the wrong boy. She believed in promises that were too easy. She had no idea how hard things were going to get. But I don't hate her. She was doing her best with what she had. And if it weren't for her, I wouldn't have Sienna. Or this new version of myself. Tired, yes, but stronger, wiser, softer in all the right ways. If you're reading this and you're where I was, scared, alone, angry, confused, I want to tell you something. You are not ruined. You are not worthless. You are not what they say behind your back. You are a beginning, and beginnings are always messy, always painful, but also always full of hope. My name is Lena. I got pregnant at 16. My boyfriend left. My world fell apart. And I built something new with the pieces. Her name is Sienna Grace. She saved me. And I saved me too. This is not a sad story. This is a becoming.